Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. I realized I've not really put out a video on what I hope ArmA 4 turns out to be, and honestly, I hadn't really planned on it, but at this point, the anticipation is insane. Not sure if you guys remember back when I mentioned Cyberpunk 2077 getting left in the dark should ArmA 4 come out, but yeah, I kinda called that one. Honestly, no diss against Cyberpunk. I bought it and played it, and it's pretty entertaining even with the bugs. But my focus on this video is to simply lay out a few things I hope get improved with the new iteration of ArmA should it be in development at all. You guys have heard me say that people need to manage their expectations with ArmA. I think that is more critical now than ever before. I'll be honest, the gaming world has a problem. It's consumers' expectations. Yes, we all pay money for these games, and yes, sometimes they are unfinished due to rush deadlines and publisher micromanagement, but I truly feel like the gaming world needs to take a step back and ease up on the expectations. Game development is massively complex, especially when your game engine is outdated. While there are some design features I wish were different about ArmA 3, the experience as a whole is just so incredibly complete for me, and if I'm being 100% honest with you right now, I hope ArmA 4 isn't all that different. Let me explain. We all know that ArmA 3 is wonky. The real virtuality engine has been in literal use since ArmA's origins and Operation Flashpoint back in 2001. That is a long time to develop a single game on, no matter how many advances you make along the way. But it's that signature wonkiness that keeps me glued to ArmA 3. It's the feeling of the game world itself, having been built on a familiar engine that has the same gameplay and base mechanics we've known and loved for going on 20 years. That is a huge thing to have to change. If ArmA 4 was to be released on a new engine, say the Frostbite engine, it would feel nothing like what we've come to love. You'd be starting all over. It's like getting a house. Yes, the idea is great, and having something new is awesome, but it's not what you know. The familiarity is gone, and so is the soul of the game you've played for so long. It's not your house anymore. If ArmA 4 is to launch with a new engine, I truly hope it's a reworked or remastered real virtuality engine or something extremely like it, like the Infusion engine. While the negatives of ArmA 3's engine can be frustrating at times, and render doing certain things with friends near impossible due to instability, it's those crazy times that turn into some of the best memories. Yes, the times when everything runs smoothly and no one in your group gets armored is also a cherished memory, but something about the difficulty of accomplishing even some of the most mundane things with a group of players is just so rewarding, and I honestly fear that we may lose that. Of course, with a newer, more sophisticated engine, the positives would surely outweigh the negatives, but ArmA could be losing a piece of its soul in the process. Now, all of the gloom and doom aside, I truly hope I'm wrong. I hope that whatever engine the next iteration of ArmA is on, that it feels familiar and holds true to those mechanics that we've come to love ArmA 3 for. As for things I'd like to see improved over ArmA 3, well, truthfully, I could definitely go for some clickable cockpit action in aircraft. And not just in aircraft, but in all vehicles. It's definitely doable, as our incredible modders have proven quite a few times already. I think having a complex startup along with the basic quick startup option would be a really nice addition, sort of like how they did with the normal and advanced flight models. It's not necessarily forced down your throat, but it's there if you want it, and doesn't force anyone else to use it if they don't want to. Another thing I'd love to see is some naval action. I know, weird to hear an Air Force guy say, but dude, I can love aircraft carriers too, okay? To be able to control and operate the carrier as a drivable, customizable asset would be amazing, especially with support ships nearby helping defend the carrier against seaborne threats. Mods, again, came to the rescue and allowed for awesome submarine warfare like HAFM's submarines and surface vessels, but I'm honestly surprised it's taken this long for someone to try and mod a drivable aircraft carrier or destroyer. Perhaps they have and it's just way over my head, but still, a usable navy would be incredible. Especially on maps like Tanoa, where you already have the ability to deploy and operate from multiple bases on the map. Having a mobile aircraft carrier changing the strategic dynamic of the map would be awesome. and the RP factor would be through the roof with a lot of carrier-borne folks out there. I guess the major hurdle to jump would be keeping the assets on the carrier from exploding while the carrier is in motion. Again, just one of those engine limitations. Finally, I'd love to see a little more variety in vehicles in the next release. Don't get me wrong, I love the vanilla game and the assets that came with it. I truly do. And I don't want to sound ungrateful, as I know it took months and months, if not years, to research, design, model, texture, and code all of the vehicles we did end up with, which were all awesome. My thing is, I'd love it if there were lighter and heavier versions of certain vehicles. For example, NATO could have had a lighter tank like a futuristic M2 Bradley and had their main battle tank, both of which could have complemented each other well and both carried out the same operational tasks, but could have given mission commanders more variety to do this with. Yes, we did get some cool APCs, although it always bugged me that the NATO APC didn't come with an anti-tank weapon worth a shit like the CSAT and even the AAFs had. But if you look back at Operation Flashpoint, we've done this already, and done it well. The NATO forces then had the M60A2 Patton and M1A1 Abrams, which allowed for mixed combat units. Same for the Soviet forces, which had the T-72 main battle tank, which compared directly to the M60, and the T-80 main battle tank, which compared more to the Abrams in combat capability. This asset variety would allow for more mixed, grounded engagements, which wouldn't result in having to send your heaviest armor or strongest attack aircraft against a low-threat target, and would allow mission commanders to save those key assets for more main engagements. This would also help the war's believability as a real engagement. What I mean by this is that in a small conflict like Operation Flashpoint or the ArmA 3 series, the loss of a platoon of heavy armor would be absolutely devastating for the forces deployed to wage this war, as only a certain amount of troops, equipment, and munitions would be allocated by their respective governments based on the threat level of the conflict. An escalation of forces and equipment would be awesome to see in the next ArmA series, and in my opinion, would really help the community appreciate the base game assets more. Starting off in an operation with light and medium type vehicles, holding out against a heavier, more dominant invading force while waiting for reinforcements to arrive would be amazing. This would allow for the introduction of naval assets and the higher tech tree of units that came with the relief force. Not only would this type of escalation gradually increase the level of involvement by the respective sides, but this would also allow for the scenarios and missions to jump around so the player can experience the full spectrum of operations the game brings with it. Imagine starting off as an infantryman or vehicle crewman holding out against a superior force for reinforcements to arrive. And once they do arrive, you switch to a pilot in the first wave of an attack squadron, bringing the hammer down on the invading forces. Or you switch to a naval commander, part of the reinforcing carrier task force, and attack the enemy positions with your cannons and surface-to-surface missiles, while the attack squadron engages the enemy forces. Choice is and always will be ArmA's strength, and this freedom of choice and how you could progress through the campaign would be amazingly fun and allow for tons of replayability. If it were a co-op campaign, that would be even better. Allow for up to a squad or even a platoon of friends to engage the enemy how they see fit. If something like this were implemented in the campaign and somehow were a multiplayer game type in official servers, I don't think I'd play any other game the rest of my life. Especially if players were able to join both sides of the conflict and fight alongside other players and the AI to win a conflict, much like how Star Wars Battlefront 2 did with their Galactic Conquest game mode. I know these are some lofty wishes, but man, would this put ArmA 4 on the top of the food chain when it came to both single player and multiplayer experiences. It's easy for me to sit here and make a wish list of things I'd hope for in the next iteration of this beloved franchise, because I don't know the first thing about game development aside from the fact that it is massively complex, time consuming, and requires an incredible support structure from not only its development team and publisher, but from the community itself. I truly believe that the ArmA franchise's community is one of the most unique communities anywhere in gaming, and if ArmA 4 were announced, it would absolutely shatter the internet and would send YouTube into a frenzy, the likes of which we haven't seen since the launch of Cyberpunk. While I remain hopeful and patient, as does the rest of the community, I do want to thank Bohemia for what they've given us these last 8 years since the ArmA 3 alpha launched. The amount of chaotic, frenzied, and bugged out gameplay has made for some of the most memorable gaming experiences for tens of thousands of players and continues to do so to this very day. ArmA is going nowhere anytime soon, and I, like Bohemia, look very forward to what the future has in store for this incredible franchise. Well guys, thank you so much for listening to my hopes and wishes on ArmA 4 and its gameplay. Honestly, I'm just happy that ArmA 3 has stayed as far up on the food chain as long as it has and continues to do so to this very day. Other games like Squad do very well to match and in many places exceed the realism of ArmA, but they lack the background and the soul that the ArmA franchise has. And while games like Squad are incredible in their own right, nothing will ever compare to the countless hours of entertainment ArmA has provided over the years. I'd like to thank my patrons for their endless dedication to me and this channel. Thank you guys so much for your donations and for motivating me to continue making content. And thank you, the viewer, for liking, subscribing, and commenting your thoughts on my videos. I love talking to the folks that share their experiences and likes about ArmA and even their dislikes, as this will inevitably help the game grow and mature more than what it already has. Finally, I have to thank Bohemia Interactive for this incredible franchise and for making it so damn addictive. Thank you all again for watching, and I will see you in the next video.